All right, time to get started on another build. Got some boxes laying back here. 3 Mortal Coil cigar boxes. They open in the center, and I got to take all these pieces out very carefully to not ruin the inside. But I've built a couple of these before. I don't think any of them have ever hit my site. Somebody had either ordered them right away or they sold before I was able to put them on my site. But anyway, I'm gonna build 3. My plan is to build them all pretty close to the same and list them on my site. So here we go. I got the fretboard material laid out, and I've got to go cut some of this stuff down. I cut all this down, so they're going to be maple necks with a walnut heel. So that's what this is. I got to cut this piece down to size, and then it will have a walnut fretboard. So basically, walnut sandwich for the neck with some maple. Anyway, I'm about to start cutting stuff up now. Typically, I mean, before you start a build, you want to have your parts, right? You want to have everything you're going to use before you do your build, because you're going to need those parts to lay everything out. Now, I have taken some inventory, and that's the parts for these 3 guitars. And I don't know if you noticed, but maybe you can see from there, but they get a little bit lighter as you go down the line. So I do have to order some. I have some parts on order for the second and the third one, but I have everything I need for the first one. So I'll use those parts to lay out all 3. The other thing is, even though I'm going to build them all the same, I will cut each neck individually to each box. So I will basically go on the inside. I will label one of these boxes box 1, and as I start assembling the neck, I will label that neck 1, and I will fit it exactly to that box. And the same thing, go into box 2, box 2, neck 2, box 3, neck 3. They're going to look the same, but if there's any little minor adjustments that need to be made, it's made individually on that box and that neck, not as a group. So, all right, I'm about to fire up the saw and get after it, and I'll check in with you guys as we go through this process. But I'm not going to film the whole thing. There's some older videos out there on my site with me doing some builds. I didn't go into like full detail, but I did pretty much show the process. So if you have questions on something that I do or how I go about it, I will definitely drop me a line on this video, or send me an email, and I'll make a video about it. So, okay, about ready to cut the wood. Like I said, I got to cut this one down, and then you saw that big wide piece of maple. This is left over from a build, so this is already cut down in size. So basically, I ran my fence up against my blade, locked her down, and that's about the size. I will double check it with a little measurement, and it's just the 1/16 over 1.5 inches, which is about where I want it. So plug this thing in and get started. Now, even though I got these pieces left over, see how thin that is, and piece from the maple and the walnut. Now, even though I can't build a neck out of this, I still use these. I will take this and I'll cut a piece of this maple to the same thickness, and I will glue those together, and and those will end up being wings that I glue onto the end of my guitar, or I will cut this down and use this for bracing inside of one of my cigar boxes. So I try to use all of this. All right, now that I got the necks cut, I need to cut the scarf joints. So I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you that part as well. I do scarf joints on most of my builds. I like the way it looks, and I like to add wings. I like the width. So I'll show you that part for sure. All right, man, it's March in Virginia, and the weather can't make up its mind. It's a little chilly out. Put my hood up. All right, so this is it. It's just a little jig I put on. I lock it onto my chop saw, and I will use this to cut the scarf joints. So this piece rides just like this, and it allows for a 15-degree angle to be cut across, so you got plenty of gluing surface when you glue these scarf joints up. So let me lock this in. Alright, that's locked in. Now these are 36 inches long, which is usually plenty enough to get the neck, including the scarf joint, out of it. So, all right, so it's important before you do this is to sight it down, sight your wood, make sure it's straight, figure out which sides you're going to cut from. So I will cut from the same side. I will lay this piece over here, and I flip it exactly like this and lay it. I'm going to cut a scarf on each side of this, and I will cut this piece off and flip it over, and that's what will create the scarf joint for the headstock. So you'll I'll show you that once it's done. So check that. There we go. There you go. So there's the scarf on this side, and there's the scarf on this side. Now, before I cut any material off, I'm going to go take measurements, and I will measure this to the box and figure out how much of this I need to cut off, and that piece will go around here and create the scarf joint. So let me cut the rest of these, and then I'll show you that. Okay. I'm sure you've seen this before in my videos if you've watched any of my other videos. So I have cut the scarf joints on here. Now I flip this over, so the neck is actually going to sit like this. Here's the scarf. But to get the measurements, I flipped it over because that's where the curve for the scarf will start. So I know that's my measurement. So I flipped it over. I've got this template sitting on top of a ruler that's sitting on top of the box. So I know where my 25-inch mark is. That's where my bridge will go. I want to do a little overhang with my fretboard. I like to try to get, 20, 21 frets, 19 frets on here. So I'm going to do a little overhang. That's where that goes. So that tells me where I can cut this. And so I take this measurement from the back of this box. I know where the back is. On this particular box, it's pretty easy because the sides are come up to flush with the lid. So I know exactly where that mark is. So I'll make a mark there, and that's where I will cut this to complete the scarf joint. All right, so here's the piece that I cut off from the same side. Now you just flip it over, and that's your scarf joint. So this will be glued up. Now you can see the lines on here. So this was when I measured. I said, well, if I cut here, I can use one piece, but these boxes are a little longer than most boxes I use. So typically 36-inch long board will get you everything you need if you're going to cut a scarf joint. But in this particular case, it did not. So I'm going to have to add a little extender piece to the back of it. But the heel will be one solid piece, so it'll take all of that stuff up. And I'll show you that once it's glued up. But there you go. So this was together like this with the, let me flip it over this way. So with the scarf joint, and you can see I numbered them 1, and then I cut this off 1, and there it is. So there's another way you could do it. I mean, you can you can cut the scarf joint. You can put the scarf up here in the middle of the headstock. I've seen people do that, and then you don't have the line here on the side, but you have this line here on your headstock that you have to contend with. And so I prefer to do it this way. You can make this line pretty clean. You can see even in this video, just kind of pinching this together, it kind of disappears. It doesn't always completely disappear, but it's the look, right? Here's a maple guitar right now with, you can see the scarf line on there, but it just adds to the look. There you go. After I shape the neck, it's shaped around there. Looks pretty awesome. So I prefer that because you're always looking at this, and to have that line coming across here because you've made your scarf joint marry up in the middle of this. But it's preference. It's all in what you want. Okay, so that's just the way I do it. Doesn't make it right or wrong. Just the way I do it. I'm sure other people have varying opinions on how they want to do it. The other thing is, again, so you saw on this, I always add these extra pieces to the edge, and that's what this will be. So I'll add this to the edge, and then eventually it'll get cut and shaped to whatever headstock shape I decide to use. All right, progress. Got most of the blocks glued in. These still need to be attached, and got the wings glued on the headstock, and I got the neck cut out for the box. So I'll take these clamps off, take this thing over to the saw, and put the headstock down to its final thickness, and then we'll be ready to glue up the fretboard. All right, it's the last of the necks. Fretboard getting glued up. Now I always put this level on top of here just to give it good even pressure, keep it straight. Anyway, all right, so all these are glued up. So now I gotta clean them up, and I'm gonna start shaping them out to put in the neck. So you can see right here, you know, I measured this, but I knew it was gonna be a little long right here. So I'm gonna make that flush. Same thing up here. I'll clean that up, and then it's actually shaped the neck. Now, someone in one of my other videos asked if I would show how I do my heel, and you know, I think you even mentioned that, you know, it looked different than a 45. So this is a 45-degree angle. What you can see is I run the router bit up, but I stop before I get to the top of that thing. I used to bring the router bit up and over a little bit when I was starting to shape. So I stopped just short of that, and I've curved this whole thing over. But now, after I do a little cleanup, when I start shaping it, I'll hit it with the Shinto. So all I will do is just kind of follow that contour with the Shinto and further refine it. I'll show a little bit of that as well after I get done. But that's really all I do. Nothing different. 45-degree angle. I cut them at a 45, and I used to come over. I didn't like the way that looked, so then I even started like a 30-degree angle, tried something different. But eventually came back to the 45-degree angle, and you can see, I don't know how well this video is showing you. You can see the little burn mark where I stopped just short with the router. So now I'm just gonna take that Shinto and work the rest of that, get it figured out. But there you go. On to the next step. Okay, this here is the secret sauce right here. So I usually clamp this in a vise and kind of eyeball it. You can see I've got it rounded over, but you can see it's a little flat right here in this area. So I just try to start working it, and I'll just keep checking it by hand until it feels right. It's a little bit too thick right now anyway. So, and then as far as the heel, like I said before, I'll just work that piece that was already created by the router. Obviously do my best to try to get the burn marks off of there. I'm going to sand it anyway, but I just keep working it around so it looks a little more natural. That's pretty much how I do the heel. And this is the fun part of doing the bill. Getting the shape out the neck and getting it just like you want it. So I usually just take my time. I got 3 of these necks to do, so I'll just go at it until they're done. And then once I get them shaped out, then it's on to sandpaper. I'll start with 60 or 80 grit and work my way up until it's ready to go. So that's the process. Yeah, I'll just start right here. I can see this. I can see a line. I don't know if you can see it on the video camera, but I'll start working that line off of there. Line back, I'll also work it down. I'll do the same thing on this side. All right, I think it's been a while since I've showed this, but as far as fretting goes, on a right-handed guitar, this is where you would be playing from right here. So I always kind of start my frets on that side, so there's less work over here. So by the time I get this down, you won't snag your finger. And also, I don't know if you can see this, but this I cut this fret. I cut the first one at an angle. And then when you cut them off, it cuts at an angle. So that angle is actually going in, so you don't have to worry about a little piece sticking out in here. So it's just getting this tip off here, and I'm not worried about. And then up here, you know, of course I'll have to finish this, but it's a little longer on this side because of the way I'm coming at it. But that's the way I do it. I just line it up with this edge, you know, kind of get it set with the slot. I use the other side of the hammer just to kind of, you know, get it flush with the edge, and then tap it in, and that's the piece that's angled that way. And then when I cut it, it puts another angle on it. And I really don't know if you can see that, but trust me, it's there. And then I just continue my way down. Once I get done, obviously I'll file this to where it's down to the wood. I'll do the same over here, and I'll start cleaning and dressing up the frets until I get to the finished product. Done quite a bit of work off camera here. I got this neck fretted up. Saw the burns on there. I need to put some tung oil on it. The other thing is, I think I showed these earlier, but I had these extra pieces, and I've glued this onto the neck. And this is, seen in my other videos, I put 2 blocks at the back of the neck, and I slide the neck in, and that's how I center it. Well, this is how I chose, or keep it centered, keep it square. This is how I chose to do it on this particular build. You can see there's some space in there, so this fits over the block that's laid in there. And already when I glued that block down, I squared the neck, and I used the neck and these pieces clamped to the side to glue that block down. So now this slides down in the box. I'm about to show you. Slides down into the box, and that's how I'm gonna square the neck for this one. So here's the box. I just need to wire it up. I've went ahead and cut everything out. I've got the tone and the volume pod in there. Here's the jack. So here's these 2 blocks I'm telling you about, and you'll also notice that I have blocks up here at the front, and there's just a small gap in there, and that's for those pieces to go in. So you have to put it in straight down. Boom. And this lid folds in the middle, so it folds right up against this neck. So there you go. That's how this one is squared into the box. So now I'm gonna put some oil on this neck, let it dry. While that's drying, I'm gonna wire up the box. All right, so it's the last of the 3
Mortal Coils that I was building. This is number 66 overall. Here's a good look at them. They are all basically the same. There are some differences. This one, they all have black locking tuners, but I did put some gold washers and screws on this one. Just something a little different. They all have the same mini top of the box Gitty bucker. Two of them have this F-hole cut in it. One has actual just sound holes cut in it. They all have a volume and a tone knob, but I have wired the tone knobs differently on each one. Excuse me. Nothing crazy. They all sound really good, but they, you know, it has their own little unique differences. So, and we're not gonna go like deep into that, but they are all different. The only one that may act differently from a regular tone is this one, because of the way it's wired. The volume and the volume and the tone, you have to kind of work both of those to get your tone the way you want it. But all three of them came out awesome. I'm going to put them on my site. I'm going to list them under just one heading, and it'll be dealer's choice. You know, whatever. If you specify and I have it, I'll send it. If you don't, you're getting one of these. I'm just going to grab the first one and send it to you because they're all good. The only other difference too is now these could be swapped out, but I still had a pack of acoustic strings, and I put the acoustic strings on this. And believe it or not, I mean, even though it's an electric guitar and it's got an electric pickup, it still picks up these strings, and it sounds good. I'll play all of them like real quick. You know, I don't want this video to drag on and on and on and on, but I'll play all of them real quick just so you can hear how they sound. I was out here messing with them already. Just like I said, this is the last one, so I was trying to tune it up. I still got to do some still got to tune it up a little bit, but they all sound good. This one. Let's go ahead and go. String still stretching. there you go. 3 Mortal Coils. I did this nice little design. All of them had the same design on the pickup cover. I don't know. Let me get a little closer. Hold on. Let me unplug this thing. Try to get a little closer so you can maybe see the design on the pickup cover. Yeah, the thing is pretty nice. Pretty cool. So, again, all of my boxes, the neck, you saw me build this, the neck goes all the way into the box. It just doesn't come out the end. This one folds in the middle, you saw that. So what's holding this closed is the bridge back here is holding the back closed. Of course, this pickup is holding it down, but then I've got 2 screws up here since I cut around the neck. So instead of sliding it over the top of the lid, I chose to cut this out so it folds in. You saw that on the video as well. So that's why there's 2 screws there. You know, this flexes a little bit. But it's solid. So I don't think I'm going to put anything down there. We'll see. The only other thing I thought about is because there's thin pins holding this in, maybe putting some screws back here just to hold this down, which is probably something I might do. So you'd end up with some screws here, and here, which should hold it solid. I think these pins are holding up well, but you know, just to kind of maybe strengthen it a little more. But anyway, very fun build. I think these things came out awesome. I appreciate you watching this. I got another video coming up real soon. I got a Year of the Rabbit box that I'm working on, and then I'll start some other projects. But hopefully, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and if you are a subscriber, share so we can get the viewership up a little bit. Thanks for watching.